Secretary General Doreen Bogdan-Martin, I have seen firsthand how busy you've been this week running all around this place, so thank you so much for taking the time for GZERO. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Before we talk about the AI for Good Summit, the ITU just passed a milestone birthday, 160, which makes it twice as old, by the way, as the UN itself. It doesn't look it, but it is. And so it has existed through almost every major communication invention that the world has seen: the telegraph, telephone, internet, satellites.
Radio.
Radio, let's not forget radio. Is AI different, and is it presenting unique challenges that the organization hasn't seen before?
Well, I like to think back to how we started, as you said, with the telegraph 160 years ago. And kind of the motivating force behind creating the ITU back then was to allow these telegraphic signals to be transferred from one country to another in a seamless way, without interruption. And it required an international treaty, and hence the creation of the ITU. And at the very core was a need for international cooperation and collaboration, which I think still holds very true today. I think today what's interesting, so the ITU has 194 member states. We have one more than the United Nations, but we actually bring together a multi-stakeholder community. We have over 1,000 private sector companies that are members. Many of the big tech companies are members, small tech companies too. We bring academia together, the technical community, and civil society. And I think what makes the ITU so unique is having this kind of multi-stakeholder platform enables, as you have seen this week, all the voices to come to the table. And when it comes to the AI and the future of AI and quantum, we absolutely need to have all these stakeholders with us at the table.
But to your point about starting in the age of telegraph, requiring international cooperation, we're living right now in a particularly fragmented geopolitical moment, as we all know. And so when you approach governance and standards, when you see the differences in regulation and policy between the EU, the United States, China, how difficult is it to come to the kind of consensus you need right now, and what is the ITU's role in that?
So we like to say we're a consensus-based organization, and back in 2022, which was our last treaty-making conference that set our strategic direction, the member states came around two strategic goals. The first was universal connectivity, which is a big issue today. We have a big digital divide with a third of humanity not connected at all. And then the second was to ensure that digital transformation was sustainable, and we had consensus there. I agree that we live in quite challenging times, but I think it's universally accepted that connectivity is an enabler, that digital technologies, including artificial intelligence, are enablers for achieving sustainable development.
Now let me ask you about that. So connectivity, yes. But when we talk about compute, we talk about the systems required to run AI efficiently and to create AI systems. Disproportionately, there is a yawning gap between the global north and the global south. So I would ask you, knowing both are important, what's more urgent? Adoption and diffusion across more countries, or digital sovereignty and invention happening in more countries?
So definitely there's a gap. There's this connectivity gap. There's a compute gap. We have 32 countries with so-called compute capacity. We have, according to our statistics, 85% of countries don't even have an artificial intelligence policy or strategy. So there's kind of the governing framework gap, but there's also the infrastructure, the technical gap that we also have to close. And on top of that, and it's something that we've heard a lot about this week, is the need to upskill, the capacity building gap. So we have to, in addition to getting the infrastructure on the ground, we have to make sure that we're also helping policymakers, regulators, and those in the global south to also have access to that skilling, upskilling, and capacity building.
And meanwhile, there's still a trust gap as well. And as we've seen, even on your own stages here, differing opinions. The conference is called AI for Good. It's not called AI is Good, which is two different things, right? So I guess on the scale of, hearing from one side, this is the opportunity of a lifetime, and on the other, this is an existential threat. Where do you think we are?
I'm going to go with an 8. I'm kind of feeling and hearing a sort of cautious optimism. Even yesterday, we were delighted to have a message from Pope Leo, which I think was his first address to an international conference of sorts. And in the address, he made it very clear that artificial intelligence should help us to build bridges and that we need to be responsible. We need to build in trust, and we need to build in those ethical dimensions. And there is a gap in trust, definitely. But if we can work together, if we can bring the governments together, the policymakers, the regulators, and the whole community, we can try to find ways to build that trust. We had, of course, Jeffrey Hinton, we had Yoshua Bengio, we had Jan LeCan, and I think they brought different perspectives, whether it was from the workforce or using agents to help us actually be more benevolent, I think, as one of them said. I think there's an understanding yet that, yes, there are risks, but if we can get it right now, we can better manage those risks and actually try to push for more innovation.
Speaking of skilling, of course, this has been another big topic here this week and in general about AI, and we heard Mark Benioff talking about agentic AI and the impact it will have on the workforce. Are you concerned when we talk about taking away the menial work and letting people be creative and strategic? What happens to the people who do the menial work, and what does at least the next 20 years of the workforce look like, and how should policymakers be approaching that?
Well, I think some of the results that were announced this week was 1 in 4 jobs are already impacted, but we'd like to think that artificial intelligence can help augment. I think it was Jan LeCan that said it can help amplify our intelligence, not replace our intelligence. And so I think we have to be investing more in that skilling piece. We heard from the Estonian president as well. He was pushing the messages about education, transforming education, making sure that our educators are also upskilled and reskilled so that we can build in artificial intelligence capacity development from an early age.
I was really inspired walking around the expo portion of the summit by the young people from really like all over the world, right? With really cool inventions and ideas. I wonder, should private sector and multilateral organizations be doing more to help local solutions grow? And how do we begin that?
I think it starts right here. We can see this year compared to our previous edition of AI for Good, we have lots of young people from all over the world. We had this Robotics for Good competition that has been growing in popularity. We've tapped some 40 countries. We had their young people here this week working on different challenges to help on their local development issues in their communities. We also had this innovation challenge competition, and we had on stage one of our winners, Yvonne from Tanzania. And she has done this amazing application to help new mothers, even in offline setting, get the information that they need to be able to manage after they give birth. But it's really so moving to see how young people are creating solutions, regardless of their means, regardless of where they come from, but they're creating solutions that can tackle local challenges, community issues. And so I think we need to continue to foster that. We need to scale it and make sure that our big tech companies, our investors are actually helping to support these kinds of initiatives.
Well, that's what I was going to specifically ask. So the ideas are fantastic, but somebody's got to pay for it to be scaled, right? So where does that money come from ultimately? Is it an investment? You know, sort of what is the proposal to try to scale those things?
Well, I think it's an investment. We have our Partner to Connect digital coalition. I've chatted with you about that before. Mm-hmm. We have shifted a little bit our target, which is around connecting the hardest to connect communities. We've now built in the artificial intelligence piece of that. Mm-hmm. So we're looking for commitments and pledges when it comes to leveraging AI to support sustainable development. So I think that's one mechanism to achieve that. But we're also looking for coaching and mentoring opportunities. We had Sherry Blair with us, who talked about her foundation's work and made commitments to actually help these women innovators through coaching, mentoring, and different networking opportunities.
So speaking of UN being 80, UN at 80 is in the middle of a reform process, evaluating its own way of doing business. What do you hope comes out of that?
I hope that we have a more coherent, collaborative system that's more efficient and that actually leverages digital technologies to achieve our mission. From where I sit, I see the great potential when it comes to artificial intelligence or anything linked to digital connectivity, and it can be an accelerator, whether it's connecting refugee camps or setting up early warning systems to help alert local communities before disaster strikes, whether it's connecting schools or connecting healthcare institutes. I think there's so much potential. And so I do hope that we come out stronger, more coherent, and more collaborative.
Finally, I just have to say, so I obviously go to a lot of these kinds of convenings around the world, and I've seen you at many of them. This is the first one where I've seen a general admission policy. And I've met people just walking around here who were curious and just wanted to come in and see, or there might have been a particular speaker they wanted to hear. 15,000 registrants. Why was it so important to you that this be open to the public?
I think it goes back to what you were saying in the beginning, like we're at this critical moment, a pivotal moment or an inflection point, as some have called it, and we need to bring everybody together to start to think through these issues linked to trust, transparency, accountability, bias, algorithms. And we can only do that by being open. And I think as we struggle sometimes to find more formal mechanisms to move forward on these tough issues, we also need to be more inclusive. And so our intention was to be open, to showcase the potential of what a UN agency, together with 53 UN partners, which we have in the construction and the running of this event, what we can do when we come together. And so we wanted to make it as inclusive as possible so that all voices could be heard.
Doreen Bogdan-Martin, congratulations on a terrific week, and I hope you get some rest.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.